Attack the enemy! Victory is ours!
Hello everyone, welcome back for some more War Thunder tank battles. Today, domination with high-tier US forces on Port Novorossiysk. And I don't know if the rest of you guys have experienced this, but lately I've been getting this constant spawn here where you spawn facing away from anything useful and pointed right at a building, which is just, I don't know. Some of the spawns are, I'm sure it's just someone looking at a map and clicking a bunch of times and saying spawn here, spawn here, spawn here, spawn here, and not actually like looking at the 3D territory. But anyway, it's happened to me a few times. It's just odd, kind of annoying, but anywho. So you can get to the A point from up here on this back road if that's where your spawn is. It does take a little while, and in a tank that doesn't have all the mobility upgrades or is just generally slow, which in this case the M60A2 is not going to... I think it'll be as fast as the M60 and the M60A1 once it has all of its mobility upgrades, which I of course don't have. This was recorded on 15 July 2017, so this is before I even had FPE, much less the ATGMs. And therefore no mobility modifications either. But my M60 and my M60A1 can both move pretty well now that they're both have most of the mobility upgrades. So I anticipate the M60A2 will be the same. And you can actually see here, first off, that M60 in front of me is flying away from me, so you can see how much, that's how fast I expect this tank to get. But you can also see on this nice long paved road, when I actually have a chance to get my speed up, watch how fast the M60A2 actually does get going. Like, to the point where when we do actually all enter the A point, I can't stop in time to not slam into the back of that T-95E1, which, thankfully, I don't think he was too concerned about, but... So there's just another little gameplay tip for you guys. If everybody's waiting outside a cap, that's great. But if you're waiting at the edge of the cap and you've got teammates coming up behind you, when you enter, don't just go in 2 feet and stop. Go forward so that the guys coming in behind you can fly into the point and get there in time. It's not a big deal, but it did end up not being a problem. Everybody made it in. About 6 of us made it in there and got the capture, which was great, and everybody got extra spawn points. So that's very good. And it's very nice when teams wait for that on a capture point where it's not like an immediately contestable one and you don't have to hurry to get it. Because like grinding mods for the M60A2 has been a chore, but every little bit like that helps out a lot. So I like this little spot here where you can pull up and see through these 2 holes here and get some shots off, especially with something like the M60A2 where you don't have a real good chance to one-shot kill too many things with the heat round. So I'm getting ground into here by an M551, and as you'll see, he knocks my shot off. So yeah, it's a little bit childish and immature that I blasted into him with the machine guns, but it's really frustrating when you've got a shot lined up, particularly with the reload time that the M60A2 has, and then somebody crashes into you or knocks you off your shot and your shot doesn't actually hit. So, kind of annoying. But anyway, ended up not really being an issue. I didn't take any return fire, thankfully, and the Leopard up there was eliminated here shortly after. I did get a pretty good hit on him here, just missing his ammo, and conveniently somebody else fired off all their smoke right after I fired that shot, so I didn't have smoke myself, but I was able to benefit from some smoke cover immediately after firing my shot, which was very convenient and good timing. So this was kind of funny. Watch when the smoke clears. Without any reference, you can't tell where your gun sight is actually pointing with the smoke, and it turns out that I was pointed at the ground like 10 feet in front of me. I thought that was kind of funny. Once the smoke cleared and I could actually see what I was looking at and realized, oh, we're looking at the ground right in front of us. So I'm playing a bit defensively here because we've got 2 of the points. We've got a fair amount of team concentrated over between A and C here to hold it. And I don't want to go out in the open without FPE and without ATGMs in the M60A2 because you're just asking to get shot. It's not the fastest acceleration tank. And the terrain out there beyond where I am right now is soft and squishy and slows you down. So kind of a dangerous part of the map to be driving across if you're in a slower or, yeah, a slower tank basically, or anything that has trouble getting accelerated. So just kind of hanging out here. Now our T-55A, I was going to say A1, but T-55A got killed up there near the C point. So I'm holding back to see what it is, and I rushed my shot on that Leopard a little bit because he surprised me slightly as I drove out in front of there, but I did get him on fire, and he did take another shot from somebody else right after me, so I was hoping during my reload, when I didn't take any machine gun or counterfire back through the wall right here where I'm hiding, that he was distracted by the other shot he took and hopefully pointing at him. It was not the case. He was actually watching for me, but he must have not had FPE because he still hadn't put his fire out. And I was able to finish him off and then got an assist on the other Leopard immediately thereafter. So nice little 1-2 kill and assist right there, one right after another. Now as I'm reloading here, we get the warning that there are enemy planes coming in. So I'm going to switch over and look up for that, and sure enough, there's our Sabre up there, and you can see an Arado diving down on him. And then our Sabre actually takes out a CL-13 on the other team as well, so just making sure that the Sabre knows there's also a Horton. We have a P-80 come in and join, and then the Sabre gets the Horton on his tail. And as I'm trying to counterfire, my coax machine gun knocks out the wall right in front of me that I was using for cover, so that kind of was an unintended negative consequence of trying to shoot at that Horton. So now I've got a big open viewport on the side of me here, and immediately, not immediately, but very quickly thereafter, take a hit, and without any parts, and I don't have a choice. I've got to try and drive for the C point. Now I could have backed up and gone to the A point, but trying to reverse out of where I was, I probably would have taken multiple hits. As it is, I took another hit anyway and lost my breach, therefore. I decided to just push forward, get to the C point, and I can repair at the C point while simultaneously stopping them from capping it if they come up to the C point. So I could have driven backwards to the A point and repaired, but it was more useful to me to just drive into the C point and act as basically a stopper for them taking it away from us and keep the ticket bleed up while I repaired. And as it turned out, the repair wasn't too long, 29 seconds, but I had some decent cover at the C point from where I was pretty sure I was taking the hits from. And I'm, like I said, able to stop them and anybody from their team from sneaking into the C point and taking it away from us, because as you'll see on the minimap, our team is not in a position to stop them from C at the moment.
Attention to the map. Roger that. Attention to the designated grid zone. Returning to the base.
So as the repair finally finishes, I start taking some machine gun hits, and I can see the smoke coming from right there. I can see what it is. It's a Tiger 105. I get a pretty good hit on his left side of his turret and knock out his commander and his gunner, and then gotta wait for the reload. My loader and my gunner are both injured but not knocked out. My commander has been knocked out. Thankfully the coax is pointing forward, so they can't tell that I'm down a crew member, at least not obviously. Unless they've already hit me and they know I am. Taking a lot of counterfire here, I'm able to drive back out and get a shot back at him, and right as I fire, he hits me with the 105. Now you can see I hit him, and you'll notice right here, there's a little hole underneath where his bow gunner is. That's probably where I hit him, and he probably didn't have a bow gunner anymore, because the bow gunner probably switched out to take over either the gunner or the tank commander, probably the gunner spot. So I did hit him, but it just didn't do anything, and it probably didn't actually affect him any. So I respawned to my T95E1, and I gotta say, one of these days here shortly, I'm probably gonna have to do a grinding festival with my T95E1 to get the mobility mods for it, because I love it, but boy is it slow to accelerate and turn. And very shortly after leaving our spawn, just barely outside of our spawn, we encounter the first of what will be quite a few spawn rapers trying to get into our spawn and not play the objectives. They're bleeding tickets out. They've got one capture point held out of the 3, and they're coming for our spawn instead of trying to actually take the capture objectives. So there's one dealt with, and our IS-3 back behind me never actually leaves our spawn, which is a little disappointing. We really could have used him. He was kind of anti-airing for a while, but we really needed him forward more, and yeah, he ends up just sitting back there the whole time until he finally gets killed. And yes, I do trash talk players that are coming for our spawn when they don't hold all the objectives. Even when they do hold all the objectives, I think you should hold at the caps and defend at the caps. That's a personal take on the spawns in this game for me. I think a lot of it comes from the map design, allowing players to get to the spawns. I think it needs to start there. But I think that they should implement something along the lines of the Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 style do not enter this zone on pain of suicide kind of zones that they used to have, where you could not get in there. As I finish this leopard off here. No complaints on that leopard. He was not anywhere near our spawns. He wasn't pointed towards our spawns. He was trying to get around behind us and knock out our guys at sea. That's totally fine. So no complaints there. And this other guy coming up right here, either, same thing. He was coming into the middle of the battle. I don't think he was going for our spawn yet. I'm just glad that he shot and didn't get a good shot on me and bounced one, and I was able to take my time and aim and get a good ammo shot on him, although I knocked out his crew instead of his ammo. But whatever, it killed him. So like I said here, the T95E1's just, the acceleration is just painful, and this is on a hard paved road surface, so you can just imagine trying to move through sand or snow or mud, which I will encounter mud here in a minute. So right here, look at the ticket bleed. They've just taken over 2 of the points, and now they're taking the A point. So look at our ticket lead here and how much of a lead we had in this battle. And watch how close this battle ends up being, which is just aggravating. Wanted to make sure I didn't miss that Gepard because he was going to either get away or put some serious hurting into the side of my T95, and I was able to get a good shot on him. And knock him out for my 4th kill with the T95E1. Held back for a second because you can see in the chat there, somebody said there were 3 or 4 on C. It turns out there actually weren't, but I held there just in case because I saw there was a dead leopard when I was pulling up, and then I killed that Gepard. But I was waiting to see what else was there, and then look back behind me, and there's a Panther 2 pulling into position. He gets a big hit on me. I don't have FPE for my T95E1 yet, so I'm going to burn out here. And I got a pretty good hit on him, but couldn't finish him off, unfortunately, as my reload was not fast enough. I did get 4 kills with the T95E1, so that's not too bad. Come back in the big old heavy T34, which I also need to grind a bunch of mods for. My US lineup right now, at this point in the battle, was very unmodified, very, very close to stock, with the exception of my M551 that's spaded out, that I have in my extra light tank slot all the way over to the right in my crew slots. Now coming back in my T34 here, again, this baby has got some problems with getting accelerated too, but I chalk this one more up to the fact that it's a gigantic tank and just weighs a lot. It's actually not, I don't think it's as bad as the T95, honestly, because of the relative size differences in the 2 tanks. Anyhow, pushing back up to try and follow the guy up ahead of me to get back up to the C point, and sure enough, right here, somebody else coming in for our spawn. Thank goodness he didn't take out my breach. I'm able to get a blast into him. I do actually have FPE for my T34 at least, so that helped. Get him knocked out, and then I've got a 40-second repair because I lost both my tracks and my engine. And the guy up in front of me has been knocked out by something, who knows, while I was distracted with this rocket Jagdpanzer back here. And you can hear another tank driving up. It's obviously not friendly, as there are no friendlies anywhere near me, and in fact the only other friendly we have is the IS-3 behind me. So sure enough, there's yet another tank heading back for our spawn, instead of going for the A point. So pushing for the team that, guys, we're going to have to get a cap here. We are bleeding out tickets, and it's going to bleed faster than we would like. We have a ticket lead, but unless we get a ticket bleed going back on them, or at least stop the ticket bleed on us. So I had knocked out that Panther 2's track, and I'm hoping that the team will get up behind me in position to help him, and I'm trying to get back up and start affecting a capture at the C point, and my tank just gets stuck and hung up on this stupid terrain here, the roadblocks and stuff, and then of course the Panther 2 comes out and shoots me in the back and takes out my breach, not surprising, and then I get hit from the front by a 105 Tiger, and I'm starting to get pretty frustrated at this point because I can't make any progress out of our spawn to get back up to the capture points. So roll back into the M551, mostly for the speed to get back, to hopefully get around these guys that are pressing in on our spawn rather, and get up front, and also have the ATGM ability to deal with heavy enemies. There's our IS-3 still sitting in the same spot he's been sitting in. And as I'm going to try to press around in our spawn here, and get around behind the... actually, now I just realized that the IS-3 is an AI, that's why he never left our spawn, so that actually makes a lot more sense. So, not an actual real player. So how about that? Didn't notice that during the battle, because I was busy focusing on getting out of our spawn, away from any potential more spawn rapers that there are going to be. Now, somebody actually made it up to the C point and started taking it away, so that's great. And now watch here, as I'm coming in third person around this stupid debris there, I was expecting my gun barrel to slide back up to my aim point, which it didn't do. So anticipating the gun to come back up, I tried to get a missile into this Panther II fast enough before he could get a shot on me. And as a result, my ATGM flies into the ground 10 feet in front of me and does nothing. And then, of course, my smoke isn't going to be effective when he's already got his gun aimed at me. And as soon as he reloads, he kills my M551 out. And that's yet another player inside our spawn. We've got a ticket bleed going on them again, thankfully, but we've got players... We don't have a lot of players up forward, and they've got a lot of players left on their team. So thankfully, I sort of provided some smoke cover for myself as I respawn in the M163 here, although it led away, but hopefully the spawn-raping Panther II there went somewhere else. And I'm going to do everything I can to avoid him here in the M163, because I'm certainly not going to do much to him unless I can get right up real close to him and set his engine on fire. And I don't even know that I actually can do that. I haven't had a lot of experience fighting Panther IIs in the M163, so I'm not even sure with the API rounds that I can actually pen into his engine compartment and even get a fire started or not. I would expect the best I could probably do is maybe break his tracks, and that's going to be pretty ineffective. Maybe break his turret rotation if you can do that. So we had them just about bled out of tickets, and they start taking the A point away, as you can see. Now, I'm rolling up in a quite ineffective anti-tank vehicle now. And now they're also taking the C point, so now we've got a 100% ticket bleed going on. They've got 1 cap, we have 0. Now, our IT-1 up there just took out a Gepard, which is good, because that's very dangerous for me, the Gepard. I can kill a Gepard myself with the API rounds, but he's going to do more damage faster than I am going to do to him, even with my elevated rate of fire. And then a Gepard takes out our F-86A5, but I believe that was damage from previous. So they're now taking they've got the A point and they've got the B point, and we have 1 guy left at the C point, and I can't really do anything to help him. So now, as close as we had them down to bleeding out, they have got a 2-0 cap point lead, and our tickets are starting to bleed pretty quickly, and things are not looking too good. I was not too happy at this point about how the battle was going. That was quite a turnaround from the lead that we had. Now, since I can't really do much at the C point, I'm just going to run and try to decap the B point to at least slow down the ticket bleed a little bit. We are taking the C point back, and then he gets killed by the Panther II. And that close to having the C point, he got killed, and now we're really in trouble. I really, at that point, I thought we were going to lose just because I didn't expect to live long enough at the B point up here to be able to do anything. But you'll notice on the mini-map all the way down in the south, we've got a heavy tank on his way to A, and he ends up being a big help here. I make it into the B point to at least slow down the ticket bleed, and thank goodness we had such a ticket lead way back early in the battle, because that's the only reason we were able to even do anything here at the end. There's an assist on the Panther II, who was taking the C point. Good job on the Wyvern there. That pretty much saved us. He took out the Panther II that was capping C, so the C point starts bleeding out again. They've got the A point, I'm taking the B point, and our Heavy makes it into the A point and starts taking the A point away, so the ticket bleed has finally stopped. And as you can see how close we are, how close we were to also bleeding our tickets out. So it's the M103 there, gets the cap. I get the cap at the B point, and just within a moment, they actually bleed their tickets out, just as a Coelian takes me out. But I don't care about the Coelian killing me, because I was able to finish the cap there and make them finally bleed out of tickets. So we barely won, but I don't care, because we stopped them from winning due to being in our spawn and spawn raping, and that just drives me crazy. I think that's the trashiest form of gameplay. But anyway, we won. I got a first place. I got decent amounts of research for all the research modules I was doing here, and a pretty decent amount of tank research, although I have no American tanks left to research, so hopefully when the next American tank comes out, I get all this research back credited to me, although I don't think it will, but that's okay, even if it doesn't. I have enough talisman tanks on my American lineup that that'll be alright. Anyway, there you have it. So, pretty good score line there, even with the 4 deaths. 2 caps, 3 assists, 6 kills. That's not a bad way to go. There's all the kill lineup. There's all the awards I got. Also not too bad. And I'm just glad we won this, because nothing is more frustrating, as you'll see in tomorrow's video, than somebody winning due to spawn rape. Anyway, have a great day, guys. Thanks for stopping by and checking this one out, and we'll see you guys soon for more War Thunder.